When I first met Malia Trent, I didn't know that one day she'd teach me the hardest lesson about trust and ambition. We met 2 years ago in a cramped design agency downtown, a place where creativity clashed with chaos on a daily basis. The kind of office where deadlines were religion and praise was as rare as a coffee break longer than 5 minutes. Malia joined as a junior designer a few months after I did. She was sharp, funny, and had this easy charisma that made people like her instantly. I was quieter, more methodical, the type who would stay late to perfect the smallest detail. It didn't take long for us to become close. We brainstormed together, shared playlists, swapped snacks during late-night projects, and occasionally vented about our overly demanding boss. She used to say, "You're the perfectionist, and I'm the storyteller. We balance each other out." I believed her. Maybe I wanted to. When she got promoted to lead a small client team within 6 months, I was genuinely happy for her. She had confidence, sometimes too much of it, but she also had vision. And though there were whispers that she took credit for ideas that weren't entirely hers, I dismissed them. That's the thing about friendship. You don't want to see the cracks, even when they start showing. My own career was stable, but stuck. I'd been working on a portfolio that I was proud of, a series of brand campaigns I'd poured my soul into. They weren't just projects, they were a reflection of my voice as a designer. I had plans to apply to a bigger firm soon, one that could finally give me room to grow. I had everything ready, mood boards, drafts, even detailed project breakdowns that showed my process from concept to execution. Then one afternoon, as we sat side by side in the office cafe, Malia leaned in and said, "I think I'm done here. I can't keep working for pennies while the execs take credit for everything. I'm applying to a few places, somewhere my talent will actually be valued." I smiled. "Good for you. Which places?" "A few design houses," she said casually, scrolling on her phone. "One of them's Larkin and Gray. They're huge. Wouldn't it be wild if I got in there?" I laughed. "You should try. I'm planning to apply there too, maybe next month." She grinned, that easy, confident grin. "Then we might end up colleagues again." The idea made me happy at the time. A week later, she stopped coming in early. She'd rush through projects, talk less, and her laptop always seemed to be open to something she'd quickly minimize whenever I walked by. I didn't think much of it until the day she resigned. She gave a small speech at lunch, saying how grateful she was for the experience and how excited she was for a new opportunity that just felt right. Everyone clapped, even our boss. I hugged her goodbye, promising to stay in touch. We texted occasionally. She told me her new job was amazing, that her team loved her, that she finally felt seen. I was happy for her, until 3 weeks later, when I sat down to finally submit my own application to Larkin and Gray. I filled in the online form, uploaded my portfolio, and hit submit. I went about my day, not expecting much. 2 days later, I received an email from their recruitment department requesting an interview. My heart raced with excitement. I prepared all weekend, printing my work, practicing answers, even buying a new blazer that made me feel like I belonged there. The interview day came. I walked into the sleek glass building, the kind of place that smelled of ambition and expensive coffee. The recruiter, a woman named Elise, greeted me warmly. We chatted about my background, my design approach, and the kind of campaigns I loved creating. Everything felt right, until she opened a folder on her desk. "So, Lena," she said, flipping through a set of printed pages, "I just want to clarify something before we continue. You say you created the Rivera Lex campaign, correct?" My pulse quickened. "Yes," I said slowly, "that's my project." She frowned slightly. "That's interesting, because another applicant, actually someone we hired last month, presented these exact same works, down to the layout and presentation notes." For a moment, I didn't breathe. My world tilted. "May I ask," I said carefully, "who that was?" Elise looked through her notes. "Malia Trent." The room spun. I sat there frozen as the truth settled over me like ice water. Malia, my friend, had used my portfolio, my work, my projects, Every hour of design, every late night, every personal touch. She'd taken them and passed them off as her own. That must be some mistake, I managed to say. But Elise's expression told me she'd seen this kind of thing before. I didn't think you were aware, she said gently. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. I didn't know whether to cry, scream, or laugh. The interview ended on an awkward note. Elise, to her credit, seemed sympathetic. She told me she'd look into it. I left the building numb, walking down the street in a blur, the noise of the city blending into a dull hum. Betrayal doesn't always feel like fire. Sometimes it's cold, so cold it freezes you in place. That night, I opened my files, comparing them to screenshots from Malia's public portfolio, the one she'd proudly posted on her LinkedIn. There it was, my typography, my designs, even my written captions. The nerve of it. She hadn't even changed much, just swapped my name for hers. I wanted to message her right then, to unleash every ounce of rage building in me, but something held me back. A thought sharper than anger. No, not yet. Let her think she's safe. I spent the next few days gathering proof. Timestamps, emails, design drafts, source files, everything that tied those projects to me and me alone. When I was ready, I sent a polite email to Elise at Larkin & Gray. Thank you for your time last week, I wrote. As a follow-up, I'd like to clarify the ownership of the projects discussed during our meeting. Attached are the original design files with metadata showing creation dates and authorship. I didn't have to wait long. The next morning, my phone rang. It was Elise. Lena, she began, her voice sounding oddly formal. I want to thank you for bringing this to our attention. After reviewing the materials you sent, there's no question. These works are yours. I exhaled, relief flooding through me. But then she continued, I think it's only fair, you know. Malia has been terminated. What she did violated multiple clauses of her contract, including misrepresentation and intellectual property fraud. For a moment, I just stood there, phone pressed to my ear, feeling the strange quiet that comes after justice finally arrives. Elise's tone softened. If it means anything, we'd still love to have you come back in for a second interview, this time for a position we think suits your talent perfectly. That afternoon, I went in again, not as a candidate clawing for a chance, but as someone who had already proven her worth, not by fighting, but by standing firm. The interview went perfectly. A week later, I got the call. Congratulations, Lena, Elise said. Welcome to Larkin & Gray. My first day at the new job was surreal. Walking through the glass doors, I saw people whispering slightly as I passed, not out of judgment, but out of respect. The story of what happened had spread. Malia's departure had been swift, her reputation shattered. I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Some truths reveal themselves without a word. A few weeks later, she texted me. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. Lena, I'm so sorry, it read. I didn't mean to hurt you. I was desperate. I thought if I could just get my foot in the door, I'd fix it later. Please believe me, I never wanted it to end this way. I stared at the message for a long time before typing back, you didn't just steal my work. You stole my trust, and trust isn't something you can fix later. Then I hit send and blocked her number. I thought that would be the end of it, but life has a sense of humor. 2 months later, at a design conference, I spotted her again. She was there as an attendee, not a speaker. Her name tag printed in plain font, her smile subdued. She caught my eye, froze for a second, then looked away. I didn't feel hatred, just closure. She had built her career on someone else's work, but careers built on lies never stand for long. As I presented my latest project on stage later that day, I looked around the room and realized something. All those nights I'd spent doubting myself, wondering if I was good enough, had led me here, not because I'd been lucky, but because I'd been honest. I ended my talk with a simple line. In design, originality isn't just about what you create. It's about the courage to own your truth. The applause that followed felt different this time. Not validation, but liberation. That evening, as I left the conference hall, I saw Malia one last time across the lobby. She looked smaller somehow, not physically, but in spirit. She didn't try to talk to me, and I didn't approach her either. Some stories don't need an encore. Later that night, sitting by my window with the city lights stretching endlessly below, I opened my laptop and added a new file to my portfolio. Title: The Resume Fraud. Subtitle: A True Story of Integrity and Betrayal. I smiled as I saved it, because in the end, Malia taught me something invaluable, that no matter how much someone tries to steal your light, the truth always burns brighter.
You've just stepped into her revenge side, where every wound finds its justice, and every silence ends with truth. If her story struck a chord, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps these stories alive. Another secret waits in the next video. See how her revenge begins.